Introducing the Flyin Miata Hush-O-Matic exhaust for the 2016 and later Miata. We're pretty excited about this. This is the first active exhaust available for any Miata of any generation, and it's only from Flyin Miata. Active exhausts have been around for a few years now. You've seen them on supercars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, trying to keep their sound levels down so they can get through noise level restrictions, and then they open up when it's time to have some fun. They've trickled their way down into lower end vehicles as well. They're on Mercedes now. There's some aftermarket systems for Volkswagens, that sort of thing. But this is the first one for the Miata. An active muffler is one that tailors its sound level for what you're doing. When you need it to be quiet, it's nice and quiet. When you need it to be loud and low restriction, it can be loud and low restriction, and it's all completely automatic. The way it works, we have a standard muffler in here. It cuts down all frequencies, not just a small range, but all frequencies. So your Miata has a nice little purr. It's very socially responsible, shall we say, so you can drive through your neighborhood without your neighborhood kids throwing rocks at you because your car's so loud. You won't set off car alarms. I know, it doesn't sound like any fun, but sometimes you do need to be a little stealthy. So it will keep it quiet when you need it to be quiet. But when you ask for a little bit more, this solenoid on the side will open up a butterfly inside the exhaust. And that butterfly allows the exhaust stream to completely bypass the muffler and come right out the tip. So when you get on the throttle, when you ask for a lot of power, it opens up that butterfly. The muffler is taken out of the equation. You have a completely open exhaust with a full range of frequencies, and the car sounds the way a sports car should. Also gives you a little more power. It's worth about 3 or 4 horsepower when it's operating in bypass mode. The switch from quiet mode to bypass mode is all completely automatic. It's done off engine vacuum, so the more throttle you give, the more it will bypass, which makes it transparent. Basically, you drive around and you don't realize what's going on. It's a linear change. It's not a step change. So the car's quiet when you need it to be. You get on the gas, it bypasses, it gets loud, it gets more power, and you have some fun. We also offer an electronic control box for this thing. And what that does is it allows you to choose one of 3 modes for the exhaust. One mode is what we call quiet mode, and that runs the muffler all of the time, even at full throttle. The purpose of that is for long trips with the top up. There's times when you just don't want the engine to be intrusive. You're listening to music in the car, you're on a long trip, a long commute with the top up, you're talking to your passenger, your significant other doesn't like your noisy little sports car. That's when quiet mode comes in. It runs the muffler all the time, the car's nice and quiet, and you don't have to worry about a thing. You can also choose active mode, which is the default mode, which is when the bypass opens up when needed, shuts down when not needed, and the sound level rises and falls depending on what you're asking for. The third mode is one we don't necessarily recommend. It's the always loud mode. It turns on the bypass and keeps it on. The problem with that is that these cars don't sound great at idle. You don't necessarily want a lot of volume when you're just puttering around at a light throttle. So it's one we don't necessarily prefer, but it's there if you want it. So you can choose basically always quiet, active, or always loud with just a push of a button on a remote control. The electronic controls can be easily retrofitted later if you do decide that you want that control after you've installed the exhaust. The exhaust itself is made of polished stainless steel. It's custom built for the Miata for this application. It is built by our exhaust partners, Thermal R&D in California, and it carries a lifetime warranty like all Flyin Miata exhausts.